Greetings, my friend. Come, sit here by the fire as I tell you a story about a player's first time playing Changeling the Lost and having a really difficult time at it. Am I the a-hole? Changeling the Lost, r/RPG horror stories, posted by the Gabening. I'm in a game of Changeling the Lost with two other people and the GM/storyteller. First game of Changeling, not quite sure how it goes. We're kidnapped by Fae, come back a year later as Changelings. We know very little of our time away, but come back with pretty strange powers and such. We meet a Changeling who explains us the situation on our walk home. The basics that we have powers. Fae kidnap people, and there are fetches made by the Fae who took our places in our lives while we're gone, and probably won't want to give it up. Dude offers to help us if we can help him with some task. Alright, fair enough. He also arranged for us to get some cold iron anti-Fae weapons. Awesome! There's a sword, a mace, and a warhammer. Now, my character is 1 strength, max dexterity, high intelligence, roguish bookworm vibes, essentially, and when the only combat-oriented person claims the sword, well, I get stuck lugging a mace around. But it's not a combat-heavy campaign, so I kinda brush it off and hope for the chance to replace starting gear later. Our adventure continues, but the highlights I'm stuck on are: one of the starting tasks involves going into a creepy castle. Inside, a woman who just says, "Yes, excellent, you'll do," beckons a party member who complies because she's a vampire and has mind-controlling powers, and then the vampire sniffs her neck and we see a flash of fangs. Now, I have a power that lets me go back in time 10 seconds, so I obviously do and try to hit her with the mace. A personality trait of my character is putting my friends before my own safety. It's an absolute failure. A guard blocks it out of nowhere. Time continues as normal. She takes a bite out of my friend, 2 lethal damage, dances with her, and we continue on our merry way as she lets us leave because we're interesting. People, DM included, did not and do not understand why I was hostile to this woman, and it is something I now face negative repercussions for, as well as all of the following, summarized below. We have met 2 standoffish and aloof changelings who give us vague information as part of our deal for help for our task. They tell us, "Someone you know has been kidnapped. We know who, but won't tell you." And my character says, "What the heck? We're going to ask everyone and figure it out anyway, so save us some time. Who is it?" And they refuse. I tell them to shove it. My friends or loved ones could be in danger, and they say, "Oh, we were going to tell you all along. This was a test of your trust in our court, and you failed." This is held against me. A person stalks us. We don't catch them, move on our way. We visit the Autumn King's castle and overhear that they're sending someone to track down the kidnapped person. But it shouldn't be standoffish aloof contact because he's too valuable and it's too dangerous. So they notice us and we come in, as does stalker person out of nowhere. Apparently a knight of the court. We get asked to go and I ask, "King, can I have a different weapon maybe? And in trade, can we get help for my friends here starting new lives?" People get on me for asking for anything, but whatever. I'm told the court has no weapons it can spare, even in trade for my used once unsuccessfully mace, but to ask the blacksmith, whose father is kidnapped. On our way out, we pass Stalker Person. He said nothing this whole time, was just present, and he leans against the wall outside the castle. So we go ask, "Hey, what's up? You were following us. Let's make formal introductions." The person says, "You talk too much," and steals one of our characters' voices. We flipped out, like, "What the hell? Why are you cursing us?" And he berates us in a standoffish and aloof way about how we're going to get people killed. We're doomed to fail, and we've been failures until now. He refuses to do anything about the spell. We're about to go into spooky fairy woods in a life or death mission, and now one of us can't talk at all. So we figure out a way to resist it, and she rolls really well, so reverses the effects. We stop by the weapon shop, and I ask if I can either trade in or borrow a dagger or range weapon of some kind, something that I can use in an effective way. I have the lowest possible roll for attacking, literally called a chance die. He says no, I can't give you anything for free. Do you have the cash? And I said, can I trade mine in or borrow one because I'm going to try and save your father and I can't use this weapon. And he says, no, it's secondhand and all my stuff is new, so it's not worth as much. And I push and he's like, can't pass off secondhand as firsthand. There's no proof of purchase. Something embezzlement. Exact quote. So I said, also exact, gotcha. Thanks. Hope I don't die before I find your dad. So, we go into the woods, thankfully with a panic button in case something happens, and are approached by a little boy. He says, tell 3 lies. A wolf will come and eat your heart. Well, 3 lies are accidentally told by the person who was originally silenced, and a 9-foot tall, bulging muscled wolfman comes. It's 9 feet tall. We blow the panic button, and a aloof standoffish NPC arrives to help us. Run! I'll cover you! Go! Go! I don't want to go. He's going to die. I have a feeling. But they all run and tell me to run, and I can't do anything effective in a fight anyway, so I bolt too after much deliberating. Well, the NPC dies and we get blamed for it by the stalker on the way. The stalker says he cursed our friend so she wouldn't be a loudmouth and fall for Fey tricks. He didn't want to tell us in words and blamed us for removing the curse, so my character decked him. Ran through the woods for his life for hours, couldn't do anything, consistently shat on, tired of being told he's a failure and it's his fault people got hurt when it wasn't. So after all of that, we go get drunk and handle our business. We checked in with the king, offered to do what we can, etc., and were basically told they have no idea and that was it. So figured, whatever. Midway into the next day drinking, dude comes by and says we missed the funeral and starts berating me for that. I give him the finger and continue what we're doing, and now I'm not able to succeed on any social roles involving changelings from the region, the starting main region, because I am shunned by the court for my actions. I just wanted a character who could do things and not be condescended to all the time and continuously insulted. Am I the a-hole for wanting a weapon I can use, running from a fight I clearly couldn't win, decking a person who cursed us and then blamed us for incompetency? Side note, is this a norm for changeling games? Aloofness from everywhere? KG Fey riddles from the non-Fey people, unwinnable railroading abound. Because to top it all off, none of the players were on my side, and nobody cares that now my social undoable due to this debuff, bookwormish never once been helpful, stealthy dex-based, unhelpful, and something they see as a waste of time, is ineffective. And then immediately after all this, the player, my romantic partner, IRL, who I was going to have a romance plotline with, decides he wants to go have his character sleep with his Fae body double, but still end up in a plotline with me. So as I type this, they're RPing how they flirt around before a fade to black mature scene while my character sits sadly alone in the bar. Like I'm legitimately in tears and sick to my stomach from both the lack of understanding from anyone in this group or willingness to engage in a dialogue about it, and then the complete callousness of my partner about what might make me comfortable in like a romantic dynamic that we were wanting our characters to have. It's like I have no agency in anything in this game, and it unfortunately bleeds into the real world. Sorry for ranting, thanks for reading. Wow, I am so sorry you're having such a bad time at your table, OP. And to answer your questions, no, this is not the norm for all Changeling games. While some characters can be somewhat aloof, they're not all that way. Much like the real world, personalities are varied. A good storyteller, or any other GM in any other game system, should be able to tailor the game to the needs and wants of their table. Fae riddles. That is somewhat of a theme, but perhaps not to that extent. And the whole railroading thing, well, that just falls on the storyteller and their style of running games. In fact, World of Darkness games tend to fall more under the scope of social and political roleplay games, and characters more geared towards that build are usually more useful. But I will say this, in World of Darkness games, you typically have to be somewhat careful around NPCs, especially those with social standings, which is even more important in games such as Vampire the Masquerade. Now, are you a a-hole for wanting a weapon that you can actually use? Nope. Running from a fight that you clearly couldn't win? Nope. Decking a person who pretty much been hostile to you this entire time? That, I'll say, is more of a roleplay choice, so I'll say nope. As I said before in my other videos, communication is key. The relationship between the DM, GM, ST, or whatever with their players is give and take, and that's why a session 0 is so important, because that way everyone can establish what their expectations are before they actually start playing. In this case, I kinda feel like the ST in question is kinda just making everything more difficult for the sake of making it more difficult. Which kinda sucks, since this was your very first game of Changeling the Lost. Now, the situation with your partner, that's something you may have to have a serious conversation with about boundaries and etc. Once again, communication. And that's our story. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for more future content. Also, if you would kindly follow the socials posted in the description, that would be amazing. As always, be good, be great, be awesome.